The media is an important part of your library marketing strategy, but how do you get reporters to cover your library? You've come to the right place, guys. Not to brag, but I have an Emmy. And I'm going to share some strategies to help you with press coverage in this episode of the Library Marketing Show. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Angela Hursh, the person behind superlibrarymarketing.com. Head there, look for the Library Marketing Show tab to ask a question or suggest a topic for a future episode of the show. Today's topic was suggested by a viewer. Or you can also use that tab to send me a nomination for somebody who's doing great work in library marketing for our KUDOS section. We're going to give away KUDOS a little later, and today's KUDOS was also sent to me by a viewer. So thanks to both of those folks. You can also, on superlibrarymarketing.com, you can find the tab that says upcoming appearances, and we're getting back into fall conference season. So maybe we're going to see each other. Check it out and let me know if you're going to be at any of the places where I'm going to be. I'd love to meet you in person. Before we actually get into today's topic, a reminder, if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please, if you're watching on YouTube. If you are watching this on LinkedIn, click on that follow button. That way you'll get a notification every time an episode is released. And as always, I would love to hear what you think of this episode. Let me know down in the comments. Okay, let's get into talking about the press. They're an interesting bunch, aren't they? As a former journalist, my career in journalism was one of the most wonderful, fulfilling things I've ever done. And so I'm really happy to be able to share some tips for you guys on how to get press coverage. And this question comes from Maryland, and Maryland's at Freeport Library. So thank you very much, Maryland, for sending this in. She just wanted to know how to best approach getting media coverage for her library. So I have a couple of tips for you. And these are absolutely coming from my experience in journalism. Number one, yes, press releases are still a thing. Send your press releases early. And I say that especially now in this climate, because newsrooms are short-staffed. They are losing positions, just like libraries, and they're not filling them. So it takes a lot of planning, and they like to plan ahead. You want to send your news release, if it's an event, probably 4 weeks before the event happens. If you're launching something, I would take the time to look through the staff of the newsroom that you want to pitch the story to. See if there's anybody whose beat or whose stories kind of closely match what you're going to be talking about. So what do I mean by that? When I worked at a television station, there was a reporter who specifically did a lot of coverage of city administration and nonprofit organizations, not because he was assigned that beat, but because that was of interest to him. And we always want reporters to do stories that are interesting to them, because they do a better job of it when they like what they're covering. So that guy would be the guy that you would go to pitch your story. And I know we get a lot of pressure sometimes from senior administration to not send those releases out early, but I would say you can make an argument for leaking it to one specific reporter if you know their beat aligns with the kind of coverage that you are looking for your library. It's okay to send it. You can tell them it's embargoed. That's all you have to say. And that means they can't release it until the date that you have ascribed for the embargo to expire. So send those news releases out early and take a look at the media coverage of that place that you're trying to pitch to, and see if you can find somebody who you think will really be the right person to cover that story. I would say when you send out your press releases, this is a big one. We often put quotes in our press releases, and sometimes they sound like they're not coming from a real person. If you have the time, interview senior leadership or whoever wants to be quoted in the news release. You ask them the question that you think the media would ask of them, and get their real answer, and that becomes your quote. I know it sounds like a small thing, but manufactured quotes turn assignment editors at newsrooms off. They just do. They think of it as you're coming at them with an angle. So they want to hear what the real person has to say. Make your quotes be real. Don't send your press release when you send it out. Don't send it in a mass email so that the person receiving it in the newsroom can see all the other newsrooms that you have pitched it to. This is going to take you more time, but I would send it individually, personalize it in the email if you can. Dear Grace on the desk of WLWT or whatever. You can get more coverage if you make it seem like you are really hoping that that particular media outlet is going to be covering your story for you. Yes, they fall for it. It totally works. And it makes them feel better. And that's what you want when you're getting press coverage. And then my final piece of advice is to really think about what is the news outlet who's covering your event. What are they going to need from you? They're going to need good visuals and they're going to need people to interview. And anything that you can do ahead of time to make those two things happen is going to help raise the ability of the newsroom to cover you. So it's going to make your chances of getting coverage much better. So if you can say to the reporter, hey, I have some great visuals for you. I know exactly what you can shoot or photograph, and I have some people lined up who are willing to be interviewed by you, your chances of getting coverage are going to go up. So those are my big tips, Marilyn. Thank you for writing in. I am certain that you all, my viewers, have many tips for her. Tell me how you get press coverage for your library. Let's start a conversation down in the comments. It's time for kudos, and our kudos today is going to go, again, somebody emailed this to me. So a big thank you to Elizabeth, who works at the Thorold Public Library in Ontario. And she wants to give a shout out to Grace Howes at another library, St. Catharine's Public Library. Elizabeth wrote in and said, since coming to the team more than a year ago, she has created so much fun content. I look forward to every post she crafts. She brings a great sense of humor, and that's increased social media engagement for St. Catharine's Public Library a lot. If you're looking for inspiration, check them out. I will put a link to their social media platform accounts down in the show description. And a big thank you to Elizabeth for putting that kudos in. So kudos to you, Grace. All right, that's it for this episode of the Library Marketing Show. But my channel is full of other tips for library marketing. If you want to learn more, click on the next video and I will see you there.